In this lesson video, we will first describe index law 3 and 4, that is 0 index or power and power on power, and then we will practice algebraic expression simplification using index laws 1 to 4, that is all the index laws that we learned so far. We will use them to simplify algebraic expression. From the definition of index form algebraic term, we know that x to the power 1 means only x, that is x multiplied 1 time. X to the power 2 means x multiplied 2 times. X to the power 3 means x multiplied 3 times, and so on. So what does x to the power 0 means? Okay, let us take an example that x to the power 3 division x to the power 3. This means x to the power 3 division x to the power 3. That in turns means x to the power 3 means multiplication of 3x, and x to the power 3 also multiplication of 3x. And if we cancel all the numerators and denominators, then we will get 1. So that means dividing the same term each other makes 1. Now if we use division formula, so for example we know that x to the power m division x to the power n is x to the power, that is if the base is same and division, then their power subtract from the first one to second one. So here if we use this division formula, that is index law 2 division formula, from here we can get that x to the power 3 division x to the power 3 is actually x to the power, this power is 3, this power is 3, so it will be 3 minus 3. That means x to the power 0. So in two different calculations we are getting that x to the power 0, x to the power 3 division x to the power 3 is x to the power 0, and in another simple calculation we are getting that x to the power 3 division x to the 3 is 1. So therefore x to the power 0 is basically 1. That means this formula will be used, that is anything, any term, any quantity, anything when its power is raised to 0, then that value is 1. So in general we can say anything inside, and if its power is given to 0, then it is 1. So this is index law 3, that any term, any expression, anything, if its power is given 0, then its value will be 1. So let us do some example here. So for example here, minus x, anything to the power 0, it will be 1. But here we have to be very careful actually. In this expression, minus x to the power 0, that means whole minus x is within that 0 power, so it will be 1. But here x to the power 0, this 0 power is not on minus, so minus is in front, x is only 0 power is only on x, so that part, only that part will be 1, so it will be minus 1. We have to be very careful. So for example here, x divided by 3, this whole thing and then power is 0, so it will become 1. But here x to the power 2 is raised to power 0, but minus is in front. This minus is not within the range of power 0, so this minus will remain as it is, and this part will give us 1. But in this example, this minus is inside the power, so that means the whole thing will become 1. Here in this example say x divided by 2, the whole power is 0. That means then this whole x by 2 is within the range of power 0, so the whole thing will become 1. But here there is no bracket, that means this x to the power 0, so this power 0 is only on top of x, that means x to the power 0. It's not x by 2 whole to the power 0, no, here it is only x to the power 0, so this x to the power 0 part will become 1, 2 will remain as it is, so here the value will be 1 by 2. So when we will be handling power 0, we have to be very careful that which part is that power 0. So for example in this example, the whole x plus y plus z, the whole thing, and then the power 0. So the whole thing will be 1. That means anything to the power 0 is 1. So that means here the x plus y plus z does not matter how much this is, the whole thing is raised to power 0, so it is 1. For example, here x to the power 0, only this power 0 is only on x, so we'll get 1, plus 2 times y to the power 0. This 0 power is only on y, so 2 will remain as it is, and from 2 to the power 0 we will get an 1, plus here 3z, this power 0 is on, for example here 2 was outside this power 0, but here 3z altogether is power 0, so we will get only 1, we will not get 3. So 3z altogether power 0, so this whole thing will become 1. But here only y is to the power 0, 2 is outside the power 0, so y to the power 0 will give 1, and that will be multiplied with 2. So here we are getting 1 plus 2 times 1 is 2, so 3 plus 1 4. In this example, x to the power 0 is 1, plus this whole thing, it does not matter how many things and what is there, but this whole thing is raised to power 0. So this whole thing, it does not matter what are the things, what expression is inside, this whole thing is raised to power 0. That means the whole thing, this whole thing to the power 0, so we'll get only 1, so it will be 2. So x something to the power 0 is 1. It's a very simple formula, but it can create lots of mistakes. So we have to be very careful when we will be using power 0. We must be very clearly understand that what extent, that what is the range, what are the expression where this power 0 is applied.